Welcome everybody to another Wine Time Yakima. This week with a twist, because we're not having a glass of wine, we're sitting down to have a very nice cup of tea with Betty Zuniga, who is with ESD 105 and is also a teacher here in the area that we've got to know a little bit better through KIMA over the last year or so with some great stories that we've covered for you. And so today we thought we'd just have a chat with Betty and let her introduce herself to our wider audience and get to know her a little bit better. So Betty, you don't drink, so today we're having a Titan tea, and this is a vanilla flavoured black tea. So that sounds quite interesting.
Yes.
And we want to say a big thank you, cheers, lovely to meet you. A very big thank you to the Yakima Visitor Centre for hosting us again today and for choosing the tea. And I'm a tea drinker.
Delicious.
Thumbs up.
Yes.
Thumbs up for the tea. Yeah, that's good. Yes, it's actually quite nice to have a nice cup of tea on a Saturday night rather than
Very true. Especially after unwinding with 5 kids, so
exactly.
Yes.
Well, I was going to start there actually, because Betty, you do have a big family. I mean, you're involved in education, but 5 kids of your own, all different ages, because some of them are already off to college.
Yes. So I have my eldest, Jeremiah, who is attending Clackamas College. And I have my son who just graduated this year from Toppenish High School. Mm-hmm. He'll be attending North Idaho College. And then I have another senior who will be coming up this year who is already committed to Little Rock, Arkansas, a D1 school for wrestling. Yes.
Oh, so he's in sports?
Yes, my family is a wrestling family. So my 2 little ones, Legend and Journey, are also wrestlers. So I get asked that question a lot. What do you do on your spare time? Well, I'm doing lesson planning, but I'm in the wrestling room doing all that. You'll see me cutting things up, but that's basically where we live. That's our second home.
Now, is something that came from your side of the family or their fathers? I mean, how did that work out? Or just something that you all just developed this passion?
No, actually, fun fact about my family, I'm the only person who never wrestled. Okay. So it came from my husband's side of the fammy, yes. Okay. So the Zunigas are all known for their wrestling.
Okay, and any of the kids you think might pursue it professionally?
Don't
know.
Don't know. My 2 older kids are off to college on a wrestling scholarship, and so is Justice, who'll be attending Little Rock. But I think they're looking more into I think Olympic. Going up there. I don't know too much. I just support. I'm the mom that's there supporting them and their goals.
Driving them around.
Yes, driving them around.
Being the strength.
Yes, especially the 2 little ones. We have to keep them so occupied. So right now they do a lot of swim, lifting. They're runners. So yeah, busy. But I have to be there. I don't like to be the parent who just kind of sits on the sideline. I have to join them. I have to lead by example.
Well, leading by example, I think, is really where we got you on our radar in the first place. This is how we heard about you. Because what you do in your own classroom, the things that you've created for your kids, not just for your family, but also for the kids that you're teaching, etc., was really quite remarkable. We first heard about you because you were bringing in boo baskets for your entire class, because you were feeling that some of the kids are being left out, and so that was something you organised. Then the next thing was the wonderful 12 Days of Christmas that we did. But there's a lot more that's going on. Where did the idea for the 12 Days of Christmas come from?
So the 12 Days of Christmas, it was my first year teaching. My friend, a good friend of mine also, she kind of did something during COVID where she had kids come and just pick up like a basket. Then we kind of chatted and we're like, man, we should really bring some guest readers and have people read in the classroom, because by that time we were actually able to bring people in. So it started so small. The first year it was just a guest reader, they read a book, and then they had a small treat. Well, since that it grew. We went all out. We got more guest readers reaching out to us to come for our 12 Days of Christmas. Mainly our community was the first ones that wanted to come. They brought treats, they brought gifts, so it just got bigger. When I first found out I wasn't coming back as a teacher, I instantly thought, okay, if I get this job with ESD 101, Communities and Schools, I want to do it school-wide, and I want to make sure every student gets to experience the 12 Days of Christmas, which this year was so rewarding. It was amazing. I mean, I think I got home every day with my heart so full. My husband's like, I get it. You're excited. We know. But it just was awesome. I mean, it's July and I already pretty much have my 12 guest readers. That's how fast, because people will reach out like, hey, I loved and I saw what you did. We want to be part of that, which it's amazing.
Now, is this spreading beyond just one school now? Is it something that's happening in different schools in the different districts?
I don't know if it's different districts. I know Toppenish, we have some amazing teachers who, Miss Sanchez, Chantel Romero, they do a little bit of all that extra when it comes down to Christmas. Not necessarily the whole 12 days, but I know Chantel actually had like a mask reader and she did like the blow up people. There was a Grinch, so the kids had to guess who was reading that. So I think everybody's doing kind of something different, but it's pretty awesome. Granger District, a couple of teachers did reach out, like ideas for the 12 days of Christmas, which I have shared with them. And it's pretty awesome when you have other people from other districts reaching out and, willing to learn. I had 2 teachers from Hera did the same thing, reach out.
I think the enthusiasm that you bring to the classroom and everything that you're doing to your community, etc., it clearly is spreading around. So what's next? I mean, what's the next big idea that you think this is something?
I knew that question was coming. What's next? My goal, I've said it from the start, is obviously to reach more than just my district, is trying to help other teachers enhance their learning. And what that means is, being open to new things. I say the easiest way to do that is actually bringing guest readers in. We learn so much from guest readers, and kids love to learn from other people other than their teachers. It's exciting for them. Our librarian, Miss Godina, is amazing. This past 2 years where we do our read out louds, we do a thing called novel effect. So when you're reading a book, in the background you get to hear all the effects that go along with that book. So kids get super excited. So it's just something that I would like to do, probably in the next 2 years, kind of reach out, go talk to other teachers. What can we do? Especially our older teachers, right? Like they're in their ways, and in the beginning they're like, this is too much, we can't handle this. But towards the end, some of those teachers for the 12 days of Christmas, they're like, thank you so much. Like, we needed that. We want to be able to bring that to our class as well. So I think that's my goal in the next 2 years, is kind of enhance that learning and helping other teachers across, our district and further out than that in the Yakima Valley.
Now, something you mentioned a little bit earlier was the C word, COVID. That had a devastating impact on not just communities in general, but particularly, I think, in the classroom. I mean, was there a period where children couldn't even come into the classroom? You were having to try and do online learning, etc. With very small kids, that seems impossible to me. How have you rebuilt from that? And do you feel that, I think as an awful lot of parents did, that there was just a lost period of teaching for almost a whole generation of kids?
It was. My advice, I had parents reaching out like, I feel like I'm not doing enough for my kids. And our district was obviously telling us, you have to, try to meet these guidelines. But my advice to all my parents were, just be there for the kids. Reading 15 minutes a day, that goes a long way, that most people don't even realize the impact it has. You are connecting with your child, you're spending that 15 minutes with them. I am the teacher that is no homework policy, and a lot of people might disagree with me on that, but I actually learned that from a principal that I worked with, Miss Pretty, and I loved it because I was that parent that would come home, hey, we got to do our work. Now it's very different. Hey, have you read? Let's read together. Like 15 minutes with my kids is amazing because I get to chat with them, and it's a one-on-one with them. So my littles look forward to that before going to bed. Okay, what are we reading today? Whether it's a Bible verse, whether it's just a newspaper, anything. I think that's very important. And I think we're back to that after COVID. We still saw it a little bit of the struggle this past year because I think those were like our kinder kids. But for the most part, I think we are back to the groove of things and, being in school, and I hope we never have to go through that again. It was such a hard time, not only on teachers, but definitely on parents because, parents send their kids to school to learn, and I was one of those parents, and I'm like, I can't be a teacher and then, come home to my kids. It was a lot. So the 15 minutes is amazing. I think that's more than enough for kids.
It's interesting because I was living in the Bay Area during the COVID epidemic, and I had lots of school teacher friends, one of whom taught kindergarten, and she was mandated that every day she had to do an online learning. You cannot have 4 or 5-year-olds paying attention to a screen.
Yeah.
And so that entire year was just lost for these kids, and I know they spent so much time struggling to catch up.
It was a struggle to catch up. There was some fun times because you got to see kids singing when you have to constantly be reminding, hey, your camera's on or your mic's on. But I think that was the funnest for me, is hearing the things they would say they normally wouldn't say in a classroom. So I'm like, honey, your mic is on. But definitely had some good stories with those COVID days. But it was hard. It is hard. I was teaching 3rd grade at the time, so it was hard to keep them engaged. I tried my very best, but most of all, I was there to, remind them that I'm here. If you need something, your teacher loves you, help your parents run the house. So there was other lessons that you could have, I did to kind of help them out during that time.
It was interesting because, of course, we naturally thanked our healthcare providers, and we naturally thanked everybody for the online service, the frontline service rather they were doing. But I think teachers got somewhat forgotten in that, because you had to carry on and do what you could do best to keep children engaged. And I think it was really quite remarkable what you guys did in that period. Teachers
kind of did get forgotten, but we tried our best. I feel like the first week when we first found out, hey, you guys are not coming back, it was like, okay, a break. After that, we're like, no, this is impossible. We need to be in a classroom. We cannot do this. But we definitely missed our kids. It was so nice to go back. I mean, I remember the feeling of everybody. It's like, yes, we're back, but it has taken us a while to catch up and do all the extra, which became a little overwhelming, but you know what? I think it's made us stronger. I think COVID has brought some good things out of it. Now our snow day, our district has required us to have and prepared for a snow day where you give a lesson, and a small lesson, just so we don't have to make up for that day. But yes, some good things.
Now let's just say, and let's hope this never happens, but let's say it happens again. Would ESD come to this completely differently next time? I mean, would you just perhaps carry on just with classroom learning and maybe do something just different?
That would not be a call that, choice that I would make. I think hopefully they would listen to us teachers at what would be best to teach. But I can tell you, as a teacher, teaching a lesson online was very difficult. Wasn't the best. It was difficult. It was hard to keep them engaged. Yeah, I hope it never happens again. Yeah, I wouldn't know if ESD has different things lined up. That would be choices they would make.
Now, recently you were actually nominated, I think, for an award, and your principal put together some notes for you, which I thought was wonderful. They described you as a heart for Toppenish and a force for good, and I thought that was really quite wonderful. Dedicated to the Toppenish community, tireless efforts to create joy. Joy is a really thing that I don't remember from my school days. Joy is not a word. So I thought this is wonderful how teaching has evolved. I mean, and through the programs that we've talked about, the 7 Days of Christmas, the Boo Baskets, etc., it is joy that you're bringing to your kids. Do you find that really is the root of engaged learning? That's how kids engage, because they're
happy there. The first 2 weeks of school, any school year, I do my best to build relationships with parents and students. After that, I think that's when the joy comes in. Hey, we're here to learn, but we can have fun while learning. We have to be able to build those relationships with students. If there's no relationship with students and family, there's no joy, there's no happy coming to school. You have to want to love school and love your teacher and know that you are seen and you're valued and you're loved. That's the best advice that I can give everybody, is getting to know every student, every family, and building that relationship with them. And joy comes after that. I think after that, everything falls into place, But if there's no relationship, there's no joy. I remember there was really no joy for me in the classroom, especially me. I struggled with reading, so
Really?
I did not like to go to school, and I feel I want to be the teacher that I never had. So growing up in Toppenish, we don't really have much in Toppenish. So the time that I get to spend with these students, I want to make sure that they remember it. At the end of the year, our librarian did end of the year, what was your favorite part about this school year? Students were when Santa came to school, when the 12 days of Christmas, when we got to have a happy meal. It was all those little moments that mean a lot, that most of these kids probably will never experience, being from Toppenish. So I want to be able to be that educator that they need and that teacher they need.
So is it fair to say that your own schooling experience is what shaped you and made you want to be that teacher that you never had?
Yes. I didn't find my champion teacher until high school. Yeah. I was a teen mom, so it was difficult, but I did find one teacher who did believe in me in high school. He changed my whole view. I would get in trouble, so my mom would send me to go pick potatoes. So I was like, that was a lot, but it was that teacher who changed everything for me. Like, hey, you are valued, your mistakes don't define who you are. And that's one of my main things I always tell my kids. Mistakes are going to happen. It does not define you, just like a test doesn't define you. I want you to know grace is given here. You are new every day you walk in and you see me. So some of those experiences, I remember those feelings. So I want to be able to be that teacher.
At what point of it in your life as a teenager or whenever it was that came, you said, okay, I've not enjoyed my schooling, but here I've engaged with a teacher who's really helping me. I now want to do this myself. Because that wouldn't have been a career path you probably would have seen for yourself when you were younger, maybe.
If you would have asked me what I wanted to be growing up, I would have said a fashion designer. Definitely not a teacher. I just ran into one of my classmates that I graduated with, and he's like, Betty, I am amazed on what you've done. I would have never thought you would be a teacher. I said, me either. I didn't like school, so for sure would not want to be a teacher. At some point, I attended a Renaissance conference. So our Toppenish district is a Renaissance school. And I heard a speaker, and she said her motto every morning is to change lives. And then I went home and I asked myself, am I really changing lives? Like, I used to work as a surgeon tech for eye surgeries. And I'm like, I show up to work every day, do my job, come home. Am I giving back? Am I doing God's work? I then went home, I told my husband, I'm going back to school to be a teacher. And he said, okay, sure you are. First year in.
How encouraging.
Yeah, very. We just had that conversation too. First year in, he's like, oh man, you're doing it. I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's awesome. Okay, let's get this rolling. Graduated. Then I sat in my lonely classroom before I set it up, and I probably cried because I was like, this is it. I think this is where I belong. First year was so amazing. It was overwhelming, but with good, overwhelming things. I then knew this is where I belonged the whole time. I never thought of it because I didn't like school, but that was my turning point. This is what I want to do. I mean, I started at the preschool. One parent, the first week I went home, I told my husband, I don't know if I could do this. This is, they're pretty young. I went back the second week. The parent comes up to me and says, hey, my daughter was crying before you started working here. Now she loves it. Like, you're her go person. So I told my husband, yep, this is it. This is where I belong.
So, I mean, the impact that you've had, we've seen it with the stories that we've done to cover it, and we're seeing it and hearing it today. But is there the challenge that you really only have these kids for a year, and then they move on to a teacher who may have a completely different philosophy, and the homework has to start, and all of those things? Does that create an issue? You really don't see that. You just see these kids go on and thrive.
No. I have kids who are in middle school, and this year I received a couple letters from them thanking me and telling me their grade was the best year they have experienced. I see them. Our community is very small, so I see them in grocery store. I still try to keep that relationship with them, and remind them, when you're in high school, our district email is open to everybody, so I constantly remind, shoot me an email if you need me. Most of those kids are doing great. They adjust pretty well. They know my teaching is very different from other teachers, but they're pretty respectful, and they always come back and say hello, that's what I love the most.
It's a lovely validation of what you're doing.
Of course.
Now we're getting ready for the new school year. I mean, here we are in August. You were saying earlier you've already been in the classroom getting everything set up. The break's over. Summer's over.
Yeah.
What's anything you want to reveal that's going to be exciting for your classroom next year? What's the next big initiative?
So when we say my classroom, I don't serve 24 students. I serve the whole school. My position, which when I found out I wasn't coming in back as a teacher, I cried. I was pretty stressed out. I trusted God's plan for me, and then this opened up, and now I get it. Again, I was not supposed to be stuck in a classroom just serving 24 students. I am meant to make a difference, and as much as students that come around me. So this year, serving those 300 students was awesome. Going down the hallway when you have a kinder, a first grader, a second grader, who all know who you are, it's a pretty good blessing. So this year, I think my first event's going to be a welcome back to school. So I've got some donations from some jumpers, doing some fun things, coming back in, and not just a regular meet your teacher night. It's going to be a fun event where they're just not meeting their teacher, but they're outside getting to know all our staff, our cafeteria staff, our maintenance. I want it to be, this is our school family. So it's going to be a pretty big event, not just a regular meet your teacher night. So that's what I'm planning for right now.
It sounds wonderful. Betty, I mean, the impact that you've had on these kids' lives is something that is so easy to see. And I think the wonderful thing is, as you were saying, you'll be able to follow these kids. Maybe in 10 years' time, you'll still be in touch with them. They'll still be letting you know what they're doing, etc. So you'll be able to see their success for yourself.
Yes, that's exciting. I can't wait. I hope that I keep changing lives, because that is a motto that I took from the Renaissance Conference, and that's what we do in our district, Toppenish. Mainly it's Renaissance, changing lives. You show up every day, trying to change someone's life.
Well, you're changing lots of lives for the better. How was the tea? This was the vanilla flavored black tea from Yakima Tea.
It is amazing.
It is, yeah. I mean, I've not had vanilla before. It's lovely. Actually, I tried a licorice tea recently, and that was really, really nice.
Oh, I've tried that, and I was not really a fan.
I like that one.
I wasn't a fan of that one.
Well, we'll have to talk about tea another time. Exactly. Well, Betty, we'll finish with a couple of short, quick-fire questions, and you can make your choices. We always end this way. So, Disneyland or Legoland?
Disneyland.
Why?
I do Disney Day in my classroom.
That's true. Exactly.
So I always love Disneyland. Actually, my son, we just celebrated his graduation party on Sunday, and his theme was Toy Story.
Oh, there you go.
So I was like, great, I'm keeping all these decorations because I'm having a Toy Story day for this year. So Disneyland, definitely Disneyland.
And from Disney, Snow White or Cinderella?
That's a tough one, because
They're both a bit wimpy, actually.
Yeah. Cinderella, although I'm not a cleaning freak, but yeah, Cinderella.
You go with her. Now, a happy ending or a sad ending?
I don't think there's ever a sad ending, in my opinion. What we go through in life, it always teaches us a lesson, whether it's a happy lesson or a sad.
That's true too. Now, what would you say is your favorite movie?
Ooh.
Is it really a Disney, do you think? Or?
I'm gonna have to go with Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion.
Oh, that was fun.
Definitely not a Disney movie, but I love that movie.
It was very funny.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten about that one, actually.
Yes.
That was kind of cool. All right, and here's a tough one then. Linda McMahon or Betsy DeVos?
Well, you're gonna laugh. I don't know who either or.
They're the two education secretaries. Linda is the current one, Betsy was the former. You don't know?
I have no
Then
clue.
that's fair enough.
I was like, I don't know. No. Sorry, girls. I missed that one.
I'm sure they'll both be very hurt.
Sorry.
Well, Betty, this was an absolute delight. It was lovely to sit down with you and get to learn you a little bit better. I think the inspiration that you're bringing to the classroom is an inspiration for the entire community, and I hope you continue doing it. I'm sure you're going to. I think you found your passion.
This is definitely my passion, and you'll definitely see more of it.
Well, we'll look forward to that, and I'm sure we'll be covering more stories with you in the future for your classroom.
Of course.
Betty, it's been a pleasure. And I want to say a big thank you again to the Yakima Visitors Centre for hosting us again today. It's wonderful to be in this facility every week, and we really do appreciate them letting us invade their space and meet with somebody and have a nice chat, this week over a cup of tea. Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of Yakima Wine Time. We will be back with another edition next Saturday night at 7 o'clock, and we hope you'll join us then. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.